Hello and welcome to my yugioh channel. So today we're looking at a brand new card which is being introduced. It's called MILLENNIUM Seeker. It's supposed to be based on the appearance of Shadi, who was one of the Millennium Keepers. I think he had the Ankh. I think that was the one he used. And it's a level 4 Dark Attribute Spellcaster effect monster with 1000 attack and 1000 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. 1. When you take 1000 or more battle or effect damage, you could special summon this card from your hand. And 2. You can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard that does not have a question mark attack. Your opponent can choose one monster in their deck that does not have a question mark attack. But if they do not choose a monster, or if that target's attack is higher than their chosen monsters, special summon that target to your field. Also shuffle their chosen monster, if any, back into the deck. Otherwise, your opponent adds their chosen monster to their hand. Okay, so this card has quite confusing wording on it, and I would probably need a little bit of clarification if I get this wrong. That's the first part of the effect, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, nothing really to it. For a level 4, that's very weak. It being able to special summon itself in response to battler effect damage is okay, but because it's better to special summon than to just normal summon this, its effect isn't great enough for it to justify normal summoning and wasting that normal summon for that turn. The secondary part of the effect is a massive gamble, because if I'm reading this right, and you choose a monster that actually is that attack is higher than your opponent is, then you're able to kind of special summon. But then if it's not, then your opponent adds that card to their hand. So depending on what you go for, it could be a massive risk, because your opponent is able to just search for any monster they have in their deck. That is a massive threat. I would say this card is significantly weaker than anything else. There are some interactions this card could have. I mean, you've got Trap Dust Shoot, which is an example of a way, if you've already got that set on your field, call it and then you can just send that card back. But what's the point of that? You've just essentially called a monster to send it back to the deck. It could be an interesting side strategy if things go wrong, you've got some kind of balance. There are other cards as well. I'm sure there's a couple out there like Mind Crush, where you can then call a card, then it goes to the graveyard if you've called it correct. That's a way, but otherwise, this is like giving your opponent a DD designator. It's just letting them summon and search for what they want, which is the last thing you want to see. There might be interactions with this card further down the line. I'm sure they're going to add something in the deck as a way of making this card good. Because otherwise I can see it just being easily forgotten about, other than the kind of iconic imagery around the scales that you can see behind him.